What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some of the data points, what is moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So NIO is down 5.17%, 668 the low, 703 the high, and 48 million shares being traded. Nothing really coming out associated to NIO, so no announcement of their earnings just yet, no SEC filings. A couple unofficial things did come out, which I'll bring up in a second, but today is just a bloodbath all around. Even you do have XPeng down about 7.83%, NIO down about 5.5%. So it's a brutal day. And I think generally speaking, when it came down to NIO, it was really trying to move higher. And of course, any stock really breaking down on a technical standpoint, you're going to have these level of pullbacks. And what I mean is quickly popping over here. Today, well, even leading into today, yesterday it landed exactly on that 10-day moving average. And so given the negativity in the broader market, that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. So right now it is below that 50-day moving average. Last time it was touched was October the 16th, which was luckily it did bounce off of that. Today, I don't really see that being so much on the table. So last time we did break below that 50-day moving average was roughly way back in July, so July 11th. And this is something as well I did bring as more of a warning in my video yesterday. So it's just technicals. A lot of algorithmic trading is really piggybacking off of that negativity from the technicals, and you see that from just the flow. So big money's not really doing too much today, which is rather unfortunate. So you're not seeing that much buy the dip type of scenario. So far, only one transaction on the secondary market. It is a buy for 119,000, but still big money is not really doing that much. These are all the transactions occurring on the dark pool. So dark pool is often enough used by shorts and hedge funds. At the time of doing this video, shorts are returning about 57,000 shares. 10.51% of the free float is being shorted, works out to be 150 or 145 million shares overall are being shorted. So the fact that shorts aren't doing that much, it is fair to assume that most of these big transactions are hedge funds selling. And so you do see some big ones right here. So 1.7 million, 1.6, 1.5, 1.06, and then 1.02. Technically, what you have to do is kind of take this information, you can cross-reference it with the actual stock price at the time, just to see if they were buys or sells, because the whole purpose of the dark pool is kind of to stay anonymous. So for those of you that want, feel free to pause it, but I do believe just based on the price action at the time, all these are sells. So it does look like, unfortunately, hedge funds were selling. But as I mentioned, there was a couple of things that did come out, both kind of associated to expansion. So it does look like deliveries are now underway in the Netherlands, Norway, Belgium, and Denmark. So this is a major batch of 𝗖𝗪𝗡s. So that's kind of a good thing as well. It does look like sales are going to be kind of starting in Austria and Greece. And there was another article that came out that also referenced Portugal. So good expansion. I think I've mentioned this in the past that 𝗖𝗪𝗡𝗚 should be fairly good in Europe, as well as I think they're expanding to Thailand and a couple other places. So I think 𝗖𝗪𝗡𝗚, based on the price point, should be good. One thing I did bring up in the last report was that 𝗖𝗪𝗡𝗚 kind of was lagging, in my opinion. Some people kind of disagreed with me on that, but with kind of deliveries going on here, might see those numbers inch up a little bit. So this is kind of the only thing that came out, but in my opinion, I don't really see this being a crazy catalyst that you need to stop what you're doing and buy NIO, nor is it a reason to sell. So it's more of a good FYI. But aside from that, looking at the options, you're seeing 18 million in calls, 2.07 in puts, but 76% of all the options being done today are bearish in nature, though. So that very much stands out. Looking at also the net premiums, it is going down by almost about $11 million. So today it doesn't look all that great, and from what we can see here, big money is kind of betting on more downside. From the bull standpoint, you see a consensus for it to be roughly around that, looks like $7 to $7.50 going into by the end of next week. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub $6.50, and it looks like by December the 5th for it to be sub $5.50. And still a lot of options being done for the November 21st chain. So it is fair to assume most likely that is where NIO's earnings are going to be sometime within that week. So we'll just have to kind of wait and see. I was really anticipating them to unveil their earnings, but maybe they'll do it early next week. But in the past, they like to give at least 2 weeks of a buffer between their announcement and the date of their earnings. So they are kind of leaving it very tight, but maybe that's what they want to do on purpose. Aside from all of that though, with it at 680, it is trading currently between this S2 and this S3. So it is definitely lagging in comparison to a lot of other growth stocks. So 685 and then 667 is going to be the next strong support and resistance points. Did in fact bounce off of this S3. So 667 is a very strong support, at least take that into consideration going into the next couple of trading days. So for those of you that want a dollar cost average, swing trade, or whatever else, just watch for that 667. And today, best case scenario for it to close above that 685. One thing as well, just to quickly go back over to the options, with today being Friday, this is also the open interest. So you have 2,000 at that 650, 11,000 at that 7. So it is fair to assume that most of this is going to expire worthless. So that is the somewhat downside of doing options. So all in all, I think NIO is just going down because of its technicals, and that's normal. That's what happens, right? NIO tried many times to get above that $7 range or that 780. It really struggled there, so it consolidated, struggled to get above 7, and now we're going through another consolidation phase. So it is normal. It's frustrating, but it is normal. So let me know your thoughts on NIO. Are you buying today the dip? Are you selling? What are you doing with NIO? And then one final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Even yesterday, I did post this alongside many day trades, but I just said that I do expect that we see a red dip early on in the day, followed by a market recovery. And subtract NIO, for the most part, most stocks are actually having a very nice kind of dip and then a nice potential kind of swing trade opportunity. But nonetheless, I do put out several day trades and swing trades every single day. So worthwhile to kind of pop over there and check that out. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.